This is from Spurn Point or Spurn Head on the east coast of Yorkshire in England. I went to the nature reserve and collected white plastic pieces. And I created this image to look like a kind of a snow flurry, showing all the different types of white plastic collected that day, from single-use items, industrial-use items, hazardous waste, toys. I realised when I started photographing plastic on the beach for the first time in a documentary sort of style way that people weren't really interested in seeing trash because they see it in the street and they see it all over the place. So I realised I had to create something interesting to draw people to the image to then find out what was going on. So essentially I have a black background, which is a piece of black velvet, and I scatter small pieces of plastic first and take a picture and remove the plastic and then put the medium-sized pieces together and then the larger pieces on top. And somehow the smaller, sort of tiny particles of plastic mixed with the larger pieces create this sort of suspension, almost of how the plastic would look if it was existing under the sea. This is essentially activism. To me, it's something that I came across by personal experience, and I wanted to let the rest of the world know what was going on. I mean, it began more than 20 years ago when I revisited a local beach that I used to walk down as a child and collect shells and driftwood and things like that. I began to notice a fridge freezer, a car, and I began to realise how could these things get washed up on this beautiful nature reserve. So I realised I had to do something about it. That happened to be using photography as a tool to raise awareness. And my work really began more than 14 years ago now. I've been just photographing marine plastic debris. The way that I create the work and this kind of aesthetically attractive style is to draw the viewer in to then read about the problem. A lot of the plastic I do collect is collected from around Europe. One of the series I made called Penalty, which was a series of footballs that were collected from all over the world. 633 footballs were collected from over 100 beaches in Europe by members of the public of Europe that sent the footballs to me to create this series to raise awareness. Well, obviously it can't be recycled, so if it was to be disposed of, it would have to go into landfill, unfortunately. But so most of it, unfortunately, is around my home. I have it in a greenhouse, a shed, a friend's shed. The soccer balls that I mentioned before, a lot of those that were still inflated went to Africa for kids to play with. And essentially I have my own kind of museum of drawers of special pieces of plastic from all over the world as well.